classic drop step move. Want to post up, have my foot on the block, big target for my guard, ball underneath my chin. First move I do, so I kind of like to roll the ball out to myself, catch it here, elbows out, drop step. Right. So do it again. Here, get big. Here, drop step.
All right, thank you, Mr. Frank. I'm really happy today to have, for Bangkok, maybe a longtime friend here. I've got Ike Nwankwo, I guess Ikenna would say, is how I'd look you up on...
Ikenna.
Yeah. Ikenna, right. Yeah, so I mean, I was thinking today, what do I most want to talk to you about? And it's appropriate to say basketball, I think, because I think we've had good discussions over the year. I'm not sure if you get tired of them or bored of them, but I love talking basketball with you. Obviously, if y'all listening to this show, we're here in Bangkok, Thailand today, as we always are. We're at the Rembrandt Hotel in our office, and Ike has been kind enough to come in. I met Ike, like I said, 5-6 years ago in relation to your Top Flight Academy, I guess I would call it. Yep. That's a basketball league here. But before we jump right onto that, and before I go into the vital statistics of your career, I was trying to figure out, man, Ike, you live in Nichita, right?
Yes, I do. Yep.
So for those of you listening, the Roman Anton podcast, so I'm Roman Anton here, and Frank is behind the controls over there. Frank and I play in a band together. But the Roman Anton podcast, what we try to do is have an hour or so interview with a local personality or international personality, or however we describe that, and then go to a spot in Bangkok. So we picked one out. And then have a performance of some type. So we had a fellow, I forgot this person, we had Max Rapkin come in. He owns a venue in town, but he also did a poem for us that was awesome and surprised the heck out of Frank and I. We've known this guy for years, and he sat in that chair and did a poem, and we're like, what? Where'd that come from? So the performance piece we're going to have will be tomorrow.
Okay.
At Chulalongkorn University, which is a spot where you're having your Top Flight academies or your training sessions now. Mm-hmm. And we'll figure something out between now and tomorrow. But that's the three parts. So the interview, the spot in Bangkok, and then tomorrow at Chula. So that's how we like to run these. And when I interviewed Frank, he sang one of his songs solo, when we usually do it as a three-piece, so that was cool. And when Can came here, he worked off of his dashboard at the mixing studio and showed us how to mix music. So that was sort of cool for us. But it's really good having you. But that's a long way to say I don't know if you're a city guy or a country guy, because you live out in the country by yours in my estimation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you lived in Houston before. You lived in a ton of cities. When you travel, when you land somewhere, do you pick city or country, or because you've got enough stats now to say, where do you end up?
Actually, I don't really have a preference. I think if I was forced to, I'd probably say a city guy. I like the action of the city. But ever since my kids were born, I'm more calm, more domesticated, so I feel a little bit more comfortable now in suburbia of Thailand, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we can now. Okay. I think you can lower that or move it around.
Right. Okay, I'll bring it in a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so, well, that's interesting, because I would have thought, close to work from your past life, right, is be close to the gym or be close to the stadium, and that's not a pejorative there. It's just you were a pro player for many, many years and switched locations a couple of times, so I imagine it's easiest to, when you're all worked out and tired, to get home quick.
Yeah, but, definitely.
So, the kids were an addition. I mean, Nichita seems to be very kid-friendly for sure, right?
Yeah, it's all pretty much geared towards kids out there.
Right.
And, so it's been a great experience for my wife and I. My son was born here in Thailand. One of my sons was born here in Thailand. Other son was born in Hungary. But, for Thailand, I can't think of a better place to raise kids than Nichita.
Right. I've been yelled at for driving too fast out there just by the random person, and I agree with that, because I come in from Bangkok and I'm driving 1,000 miles an hour, and people are like, hey, slow down. Yeah. But it's good. So do you see yourself there? I mean, did you pick that potentially to have schooling there as well?
Not really. So it was kind of, I'd lived downtown for the better part of about 6 or 7 years.
Right.
And when we found out we were having Ike, my wife kind of basically gave me an ultimatum. She was like, either we're moving out there or we're moving back to Budapest. So you decide. So
there you go.
Like, if I want to going to stay in business, I had to go out there, and kind of went out there reluctantly at first, but I really enjoyed living out there.
Yeah.
I think it's just really great environment for my son and for both of my sons. And then I also run a program there at ISB, one of the biggest international schools there. So it's really convenient to be able to do my program there and live there. And, it's a good place to get away from all the craziness and the hecticness of the city, to go out there.
Right, where your office is, right?
Absolutely.
So your office and my home and this office are pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm on Soy 21, my apartment now. I moved from Soy 24. And so when I say Soy 24, that means Sukhumvit Soy 24. So that's the main street that runs through Bangkok. So Ike's in my office, your Top Flight Academy office is in a building called the Trendy Building, which is massive.
Yeah.
It's the biggest parking structure I've ever seen.
You get lost in there, yeah.
But it's downtown, so whatever else is going on when you come in to do work, not on the court, and you're going to your office, you're back in the thick of it. So, all right, so that's sort of a coin toss, city, country, but with the kids, maybe you're leaning towards country life.
Absolutely,
so, how about, you told me, I think you said you and Ags, your wife, some familiar name there, got a place in Budapest? You have a place there?
Yeah. So that was this past year.
Wow.
We bought a house in Budapest. Yeah.
And you thought you'd be going back and forth all the time, and that ain't happening.
Yeah, that's not happening. Definitely not happening with all the restrictions and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to be here for a while.
Yeah, so just for the listeners, if you're picking this up later, we're October 2020. Ike and I got back in touch through email maybe April, May, after not hearing from each other for a couple months, but then we met for a meeting at another office location in May, and life has been sort of back to normal in June.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I mean, none of us are in hugely close contact, but I've been playing basketball at my club since June.
Okay.
5-on-5, with 5 guys waiting, so probably not terribly socially distant, but I'm sure the club's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But it's life has been not back to normal, but has been on, right?
Yeah.
Does that surprise you here, or
well, somewhat. So actually, last time you and I met, nothing was going on here, and Hong Kong had just recently opened back up. So I have an academy out there in Hong Kong. So I was like, okay, things are pretty slow here. So I went to Hong Kong. We had a series of camps that we were going to be doing in July. So I thought, okay, it'd be a good opportunity to get out there. I get there, I quarantine for 2 weeks in Hong Kong, and after I think 4 days of camp, everything gets shut down here. And then same time, things open up back here in Bangkok. And so, it was just really bad timing for me. And then I'm kind of locked out of here for a couple of months. So so it was tough. It's been a tough past couple of months, but.
So I missed that. I mean, I'm sorry for not reaching out, and we just sort of got in touch, and then as things happen, when you're busy, it falls apart. But
absolutely.
Wow. So you did the move over there. That's. I mean, so just to bring us all up to speed. So you've had the Top Flight Academy in Bangkok for years. You have various activities going around. You have guys that I know and people that you don't, that I don't know, working for you, teaching, coaching sessions, big academies, private lessons, and 3 years ago, Hong Kong? 3 years ago now?
4 years now.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah, 4 years.
It's just like yesterday that we were eating steak talking about the possibility of it.
Absolutely. And
what is going on?
Yeah, man, it's been great though. I mean, it's been tough, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
Got a great community of kids out there and families, and so I'm enjoying it. I mean, everything kind of stopped because of COVID, but for the most part, it's been good.
So you quarantined there, then came back and quarantined here?
Yeah, so I quarantined there, and then I had to go through everything as far as getting back here, because when you're outside of Thailand, you have to go through a lot of protocols to get back. You have to find an ASQ hotel. You got to get a fit to fly certificate and a couple other things from the embassy. So I went through that whole process. I went to Hungary for a while, spent some time with my family.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Are they there or here?
They're still there now.
Wow, okay.
They're there now. Yeah. So I went there, was there for about a month. Then I came back here and quarantined for a couple of weeks. And so I've been back here in Bangkok for about a month. Yeah.
It's so funny because I consider you and I don't know a lot about you. I mean, we've hung out a little bit, but you're calm and low maintenance in my mind, just as a dude. In terms of running your academy, it was always sort of cool, and people look for you for the comm, which is one of the things I've learned a lot from you, just even in talking to you over the years, is the way you have a dialogue. Is you're very generous in saying, well, what do you think about that? When it's clear people want to talk, and I think I want to talk a lot, so I know sometimes he'll just hand the mic back to me. And I think of that a lot in other areas. We're just like, I could sort of hear some feedback here before he'd be commenting. Yeah. So thanks for that. But it's just interesting how this whole just the whole setup of the town now, and the dynamic has changed, and so we don't have a lot of foreigners here, and so from Hong Kong to here, I think people aren't flying in there either, right?
No,
so,
not at all.
Yeah. So it's just, so you're back, your family's in Hungary, and you're here running the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about election stuff. I mean, I'd love to, but we haven't done this, so I'm not sure if we do it first time live on the air, but it's just, there's a lot going on that makes you wonder every day, right? So I didn't watch the debate this morning. We asked about that. So the President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden had their second debate today, and I got up and said, I'm going to go out and golf instead. Looking forward to us doing this interview today. But let's take a pause here and jump back, because I've asked a little bit over the years, but we've never really talked about sort of, winning a national championship, or just sort of the whole thing that's maybe brought you here or not. Just, we've sort of talked around it, because I always sense that you get an earful of that all the time, especially from the basketball players in your life, and probably the fathers and of the kids who bring in and want to talk to you about it. But so 95?
95.
Right. So, and I actually did write that down, and I looked just moments ago before you came here. But you were, if I recall correctly, though, prior to that, you'd lived in Houston for a while.
Yeah,
right?
That's where I grew up for the most part.
Yeah. How was that? Because I lived in Houston for quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
What do you think of Houston life?
Love Houston. I'm a Houston boy, Houston native. I consider myself a Houston native. We moved there when I was 11 years old from Ohio. Before that, we were in Columbus, Ohio. And that's where I basically spent my formative years. Most of my family's still in Houston. So definitely consider myself a Houston boy, Houston native.
Yeah. And maybe I think you backed away a little again, but I just so your parents, do they share the Nwankwo name, or? Yeah,
no. So both my parents have passed away. My dad is Nigerian, so my mom and my dad were Nigerian.
Yeah.
And my dad immigrated in the early 70s during the Biafra War.
Right.
So he came over here on a grant, and he was a professor and an author. Yeah, and he taught at Ohio State.
Nice.
Taught at Prairie View.
Big Ten.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, we've been here. My dad's been here since the early 70s.
And it's funny, because you and I do this all the time. Been here. He's in the United States. We're in Thailand, so just not to be confused, but Ike and I are talking sort of reminiscent Houston style here. And so he was born, left Nigeria. So we have a Nigeria thing in common. It's sort of cheap for me to say I have a Nigeria thing, but I lived there for 3 years a couple of years back, and I loved it there. I had some great friends, and it was funny because Ike is a popular name, derivative Ike. So my boss's name was Ikechukwu, and that was God's power, maybe? God's power, I think. Yeah. Your name obviously has meaning, but we had a lot of Ikes with longer first names, but they'd shorten it to Ike. And so on the basketball court, you had to get some nicknames, and we had the craziest nicknames at our gym. But I remember one gentleman, he's about your height, a lot thinner. First time I ever threw like that. Who does that? Just the point guard running alongside the sun, you just throw it up in the air, and he went up and did it. It was the highlight of my basketball life was watching. We called him Tall Ike, if you can believe that. So Tall Ike Duncan. But so there's the Nigeria connection here. And I'm going to say this for the record. I read this on the internet today, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but I'm an idiot, so it doesn't matter. Giannis is from Nigeria?
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, he is. Yeah.
I wore the shirt. I thought, Greek freak, all that stuff, and I'll give him credit for that. He's a citizen wherever he's a citizen of. I've got no problems with that. But and I'm not saying it's misidentified or there's some branding thing or some funny thing, but sorry about that. I didn't even know we had a phone in here. But Bam, Akeem, Giannis, Ike, Nwankwo, Nigerian common. So I never made the connection with you and Hakeem sort of having success at the same time in our discussions. And you and I had always talked about sort of the Dream Shake and his moves. And I was right with you when you said he was one of your favorite basketball players of all time.
Yeah, he is my favorite basketball player.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to go on the record, number one.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of my idols and somebody I've looked up to ever since I was a little kid. And even in retirement, he's still like one of my idols.
Yeah.
Hakeem. Interestingly enough, I played against him the first time. I was in Dallas in '97. I was in training camp there, and I remember we played the Houston Rockets. And I remember the 2 games earlier, played the Jazz beforehand with Malone and Stockton. And I remember the coach was pumping me up to be my first chance to get a chance to play in an NBA game. Never materialized, and so I was really deflated, disappointed by that. Next game we were playing Houston, and for me, I had just kind of given up any chance. It was like one preseason game left, so I'd given up any kind of thoughts of playing in that particular preseason, and we played Houston. But I was excited just the fact I was gonna be able to see Akeem close up in an NBA uniform, just like I felt more as like more of a spectator than even expecting to play. And I remember, just that feeling, seeing him on the court, and I'm there on the bench on an opposing NBA team. For me, that was just like, that was it for me. And I remember I was just so in awe watching him play. I didn't hear the coach call my name to go in the game. And he called me out a couple of times, Ike, get in the game. I was like, oh, me? So I was like nervous as can be, took off my warm-up, went in the game, and I literally had no idea like where I was. I was so nervous. I almost felt like I was going to throw up like that. You remember that scene in Any Given Sunday when Jamie Foxx throws up?
Yep.
So I was kind of really nervous, and I remember going there, it was a free throw, and Olajuwon looks over on my jersey, and he sees my last name, Nwankwo, and he's like, oh, you're from Nigeria? I'm like, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
He's like, oh, welcome to the league, young fella, and he pats me on the back, and I'm telling you, from that moment on, if I would have died like in that moment, that'd have been enough for me.
Right.
And I remember that was my first preseason game. I ended up scoring like 6 points, got a few rebounds, and I remember after the game, didn't get a chance to speak with him, and at the end of that season, I got a call from the Nigerian Federation, the national team. And the federation owner, I guess the federation head was like, yeah, Olajuwon had recommended you that we take a look at you for the team. And for me, that was just like the highest compliment. I ended up competing with the Nigerian national team the following year in the African World Cup.
What year is that now?
That was in 2003.
2003.
And then I went and played with him again in 2006 in the FIBA World Cup. But I would never have gotten that opportunity if it wasn't for that game, that recommendation from him. So. Yeah, that was one of the highlights of my life, my career. I think just being able to get that recognition from him, and the fact that he recommended me, that he saw something in me, meant a lot to me.
Right. So got a lot of information there, and that's great. I mean, I don't know if your face lights up or not, but you seem very happy telling me that story, and so I got to trust that that's like an honest feeling right there, and I sort of felt it too. Like I can just picture, it's not the same, but it's my version of that. So, that feeling you get when you're out of your element,
absolutely,
doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you're supposed to be there, right? You got the jersey on and you go out. I can think back to grade school and you and I would call grade school the same thing in kindergarten, just those very stages when you get put in the game and you might as well not even you're not present, right?
Yeah.
You're just getting run
That's
over.
a way to describe it, absolutely.
But you scored your points, so you did those on autopilot.
Well, it was crazy because I remembered in that game, we ran a play and I totally we got the play, threw the ball to me, and I just basically threw it up with the shot clock winding down, and it went in. And from that moment on, all the nervousness, everything just kind of, just fell to the wayside, just dissipated, and I started playing. But I remember, that moment, just being there, it was surreal, you know.
Yeah.
On the floor with him. Yeah.
So let me make sure I understand the year when you were with him. So
97.
97.
Yeah.
So that happened in 97, and then you played in successive finals for the federation, right? So there was like an African, and then the
So the African was in 2003 in Egypt, Alexander. I remember that. Yeah, in Egypt. So I was there, and then I didn't get selected. I don't know what happened the next couple of years, but then I went back in 2006 when we played in the FIBA World Cup in
that's it
in
That's
Tokyo.
it.
Yeah,
Right, World
yeah,
Cup.
and we were one round away from playing against the Dream Team.
Right.
We lost to Dirk Nowitzki and the German national team.
Yeah. Right. So there was a gap. So there was the African Federation finals, and then there was that other FIBA thing, which is legit and World Cup and big, but fairly foreign to Americans, right?
Yeah.
In terms of
Yeah.
the breadth and scope and magnitude of that was huge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And phenomenal players, right?
Yeah. Yeah. One of the best players in the world.
Right.
One of the best players from the NBA.
Right. And then they go represent.
Exactly.
Well, that's very cool. So, I mean, that's a lot of information, but man, I'm stumbling over this now because I'm not very good at sort of remembering some of these details. But whose jersey were you wearing when you were playing against Olajuwon? So what?
Dallas.
So you were on the Dallas team.
Yeah.
Preseason.
Yep.
90.
That was with Sean Bradley and Michael Finley, Khalid Reeves.
Right.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fast group of people.
It was when Ross Perot owned the team.
Right.
Yeah, before he gave it over to Cuban. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was still
Pre-Dirk. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good team, though, right?
Yeah. Solid team.
Yeah, I mean, so getting back, so we started all this just by pointing out 95 as a pivotal year, and then having this epic event later on with Hakeem is equally as awesome. But Hakeem on the court, welcome to the league, young fella. Better than winning the national championship?
That's tough. Tough. I mean, I think the national championship definitely has been responsible for most of the opportunities I've had in my life, for sure. I can say that. But from a personal kind of standpoint, like Olajuwon's everything to me, and you know, so just being able to get that compliment and affirmation from him means the world to me. Yeah.
Right, and having it pop up years later, right? Just
Exactly.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like winning something at the same time as him, your measuring stick, and then he says, "Hey, look at this dude."
Exactly.
That's so awesome. I didn't know that one. I'm surprised that I asked so many stupid questions. I'm surprised I didn't wrestle that one out of you. So, and what we're talking about is UCLA Bruins, right? And I joked about Ike with his hat on the way in. I said Boston because I thought he'd reach across the table and knock my teeth. No, not like that. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean any of that, actually. I gotta take that back. Frank, we got to edit that out. I'm a big Boston fan. Everyone's good people everywhere. But UCLA Bruins, so you were in a fairly notorious year. That was a big year. You had some guys that had some notoriety for all sorts of reasons.
Absolutely.
But
my brothers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with folks from the team?
Yeah, still. We just had our 25-year reunion a few months ago.
Right.
We did it on Zoom.
2020.
Yeah, so
right.
we did it on Zoom. And it was great. It was like we saw each other yesterday. A lot of us hadn't seen each other in years, but we were on the Zoom call for like 2 hours just laughing and reminiscing. And,
nice.
So I think it was great.
So let's run through this. So you move from Ohio, Columbus, you go to Houston, and then Cypress, I think, if I recall.
Yeah,
Cypress, right.
Cypress Creek, yep.
Right, because I used to play that Cypress golf course out there, and that was, when it was humid, it was so much like Thailand out there. It was just hot, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of similarities to Thailand, Nigeria, and Houston.
Absolutely,
about it, right?
Absolutely.
Apart
Humidity-wise,
right? Yeah, we're sort of used to that.
Yeah,
you just show up sweaty, right?
Exactly.
No problem, man.
Yeah, don't take a shower.
Right. So, how did you make the move from Cyprus? Were you? I don't know much about your high school career. I assume you were tall in high school.
Yeah, I was.
And you played at Cyprus, and you were.
Cypress Creek. Yeah, I was one of the top players in the state at the time. I was getting recruited by a lot of different schools.
Yeah.
And, I narrowed it down to, it was between Indiana, UCLA, UT, Georgia Tech, and Duke were some of the finalists that, and so I chose UCLA and Stanford. Yeah.
So Coach K was there.
Yep.
You had Bobby Knight at Indiana.
Yep.
UT, I forget the coach's name.
Tom Penders.
Right, Tom Penders.
Yeah.
Wow. And so did you meet with all of them?
I did. I went on official visits. I didn't go to Duke, but I took my official visits to UT, went to Indiana, went to Stanford, went to UCLA. And my dad wanted me to go to either. My dad idolized Indiana, because that's where he went to school.
Of course.
Got his PhD there. And so he wanted me to go there because of Bobby Knight, and then also the opportunity to go to Stanford. He really wanted me to go there. So when I narrowed it down, but UCLA was kind of his last choice, He just kind of told me that, if for the rest of your life to be able to say you have a Stanford degree that'll take you so far, and didn't really, care as much about the basketball aspect. For him, the idea of me getting a free scholarship to go to Stanford or to play for Bobby Knight, those were my choices.
God, by no means do I have a basketball or baller mentality or whatever that is, but the choice is so abundantly clear to me for that period of time. As someone looking to try and get a chance in basketball, you'd say, well, it's Duke or UCLA, depending on who's on the team, right?
Yep.
I mean, to me, the notion, having grown up Big Ten, of Bobby Knight was frightening. I mean, that would have been like, whew.
Yeah. I think my dad really loved, at that time, I don't think, he really loved the discipline aspect of it. And, Bobby Knight was a god in Bloomington. So I don't think we knew as much about what was going on behind closed doors as we do now. So
even what you knew on TV is like, it's pretty tough, right?
Yeah, but I think my dad thought at the time it'd be good for me to have that discipline and that structure from him.
Were you a wild kid, or?
Not really wild, but my dad just thought that, he'd toughen me up, and, and like I said, I mean, in Bloomington, Bobby Knight was a god, and so my dad thought that the fact that my son can play for, a legendary coach like this, take that opportunity.
Yeah, I remember, because that's what I was up against, Indiana school in Big Ten. I went to Wisconsin, so he was a household name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in America, he was a household name anyways. But
Absolutely.
in the Big Ten, it was you had a reckoning every year with him, whatever his teams were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. And so, man, you're 17 taking these interviews. Do you know what the hell you're even doing?
I have no idea. No idea what I'm doing.
Did someone get a hold of you other than your dad, some business guy or some sketchy?
No, it wasn't those guys. I mean, those guys were definitely there, but they weren't as many of them as there are now today.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So my dad was really the guy I leaned on for advice, and my dad was coming from more of an academic kind of background. He wanted me to maximize the free education at the top university.
So what was your dad's PhD in?
English literature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did he just give you books growing up?
Yeah. So my dad actually, he was a pretty prolific author in his own right. He's written 18 novels, and a lot of them translated into like 10 different languages. And so
under his name?
Oh yeah, under his name. Yeah. So yeah, he was a prolific author, and he was a professor, and so that's the kind of background that he came from. And so he never, I think, coming from Nigeria, never envisioned his son being like a basketball player or an athlete of any kind. He wanted me to kind of follow in his footsteps.
So he's Igbo too, right? So like, come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
God, my boss was when I was there, and he was just, you could tell it was a mastering parenting. Like, you gotta be smart, bro. Exactly. That was rule number one.
Absolutely.
Study.
Absolutely.
You could have been 7'8", and they'd be like, study. Yep. And I'm not, that sounds like idiotic, and I am, but, I mean, I've read a lot of the history, so Wally Solanka and Chinua Achebe and the guys.
Those are all my dad's peers,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So did he go to, like a prep school there?
No. So my dad, he was raised in a village in Nofia, in Enugu. I think you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
So no, he didn't go. He actually went to, when he was like, I think, I'm not sure, 18, 19 years old, went to the UK and went to King's College there. And that's where he was educated there. But my dad was, he was a consummate, he was an intellectual. And I think, my dad's, kind of, his passion was, all the great authors of history, Shakespeare and all the people like that.
God, I as I tend to do, I'd have to ask you this, when there's different ways of doing it. You've been in Venezuela, Turkey for sure,
Absolutely.
Thailand, a couple other stops.
Poland,
Spain, my boys. Yeah. I mean, hard to go and learn the language and read the literature when you're working out 80 hours a week. But when I went to Nigeria, I remember reading Things Fall Apart.
Yep.
And it's just horrifyingly beautiful, that book.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, I was reading about that period of time in the 60s. And, you know, your dad's folks, Ebos, you know, just, whew, that is an unspeakably brutal time period in world history.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so him and, you know, to represent that prodigiously in writing is awesome. But those counterparts of his, I imagine, that shaped his worldview, but just gave him such pride as those guys excelled.
Exactly.
Right? And then himself, right? So
Absolutely.
Was he in touch with the community there from Indiana, or did he just sort of turn to the U.S. and try and educate that way?
No, I think both. I think both. I think, definitely was in touch and always stayed close, but I definitely was trying to kind of educate more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care of you.
Exactly.
Get you on the straight and narrow. Make sure you don't end up in that scenario where that was happening, right?
Exactly.
God, father's duty, right? Maybe that's the theme of the show today here is you know, you move to the country to make sure everything's okay, right? You get the kids safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think COVID, you know, a lot of lessons, but it knocked a lot of sort of the artificial stuff out of my life for 4 months, and I really appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why you eating this? Why you working out?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of the workout?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would you want to be going out tonight? You know, just the whole, you're going to go out and kill yourself tonight? Yeah, it's just, it really sort of made you think, like, what was I doing before, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, all right, so we sort of get you to 17, and then you make the decision, and your dad's obviously proud as hell, but he wants you to do Indiana for his purposes, but Stanford because he knows what that imprimatur is.
Absolutely.
You pick at UCLA, and you're pretty sure
Like,
you've just hit the lottery of all time,
Yeah.
and you guys go to win the national championship. So, O'Bannon brothers, you got the
Pius Edney.
Yeah, you just got a solid squad that has gone on to do very well for themselves,
Absolutely.
and you've got the GM of the Warriors on that team. But you go to college and you're in LA. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Greatest place on earth, right?
Greatest place on earth.
Southern California.
Absolutely.
Still, even on fire and crazy. It's
still.
So you're there and you live in a dormitory your first year?
Yeah, first year I lived in the Hitch Suites on
Hitch
campus.
Suites.
Yeah,
That would mean something to folks who know.
Yeah,
Is that
definitely.
like the team suites.
No, it's not necessarily the team suites, but you can live in a dorm or you can live in the suites.
I see.
In the suites, you got 2 bedrooms, you got a living room, you got your own bathroom. So
Extra high ceilings and long beds and stuff.
You would think so, but nope. Pretty standard dorm.
Yeah.
And it was me and my teammate, and we lived with just 2 civilians, 2 regular guys in the same suite. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And so how many hours a day are you doing ball at that point at 18 and a half?
Oh, man, so we wake up, we have workouts in the morning. First workout's like at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then we go to class, come back, we have practice, and then we have study hall, then we go out and get another workout in. So we're doing about, I'd say, 5-6 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you're just super fit. Are people freaking out about diet in 1995?
Not the way they are now.
Right.
Not at all.
Would it have made a difference?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I just remember a lot of the stuff that we were doing back then. Maybe for me, I think it would have.
Yeah, pizza and Coke and stuff.
All that
Coca-Cola.
Kind of stuff. All the stuff we have in
beverage.
the training room and the foods. I don't think that. Yeah, definitely wouldn't work well now.
Yeah, because it clearly seems to me. I mean, like take Giannis for example. Folks in the NBA just look very strong right now. I think of Iguodala. He's older. He's older in the NBA, not older man. Yeah. But they just look strong.
Yeah, look at LeBron now, the way he's taking care of himself.
Yeah, of course. I think he's so exceptional that even if we took him out, we'd say, how about the rest of the league? The rest of the league looks strong, but LeBron is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I guess we should say this. Congratulations on the Lakers win. I guess you get. And we talked about it walking in, as you had to duck under the door frame of our small office here. But we talked about watching basketball during COVID. Frank watched. We went to watch the last game over at Sportsman. It's a tradition we have here to get enough people together to start a bar fight, I guess. But it's usually a Laker crowd there. And watch that, but it was fun and a well-deserved break, and I think Adam Silver deserves some type of award for that.
Absolutely.
And all things considering, and I'm sure there are a lot of players who are very unhappy and unsettled about how that all went, but it just seemed to be, from a sports appreciation point of view, he did about as good his job for the world as
absolutely
anyone in the last 6 months.
Yeah, my hat's off to Adam Silver. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah, he should
finish.
We should give him an award or something. Yeah. Someone should give him a bunch of money for being so awesome. But yeah, I mean, it was really enjoyable. So, but you're back in LA and national championship. I mean, a growth experience, or you don't remember it? Is it? How does that work?
It's tough because, I mean, I remember at the time I wasn't getting very much playing time. So I was really frustrated by that, and frustrated that year in particular. But once we got into the tournament and we just started rolling, I mean, you kind of just forgot about all your own kind of, personal kind of issues, and just kind of really bought into the fact that we might actually be the first team to win a national championship at UCLA in 20 years. And so that ride was so magical, and just the camaraderie with my teammates and what it meant to our school and what it meant to the city at the time was something that I'll never forget. It's probably the most special moments of my life. So I don't really have too many moments on the court that I can point to during that time, but just like I said, just the memories of everything our team went through and being part of that process. Yeah, it's definitely life-changing.
Sure. Can you, right here, right now, if I ask you to picture yourself with the team on the bench before the game, can you put yourself back in that spot? Or
easily, like it was yesterday.
That's so awesome,
like
right?
It was yesterday. Yeah. I remember.
And you remember seeing the scoreboard, or
absolutely.
Like fouls. I remember looking up and seeing
totally.
Tyus hit 3 fouls. I
remember at the moment when Tyus hit his shot, I played it for my 2 kids the other day, and I played it for Ike the other day. And he's like, "Where are you, Dad?" I was like, "No, you see that guy sitting down there? That's Papa." But no, I just remember that moment, and when the ball went through, and everybody just going crazy, and then just tears just started streaming down my face. And my son's like, "Why are you crying?" And I couldn't put into words to him, and it'll mean a lot to me in the future when he's able to understand the significance of what that moment was. But it's like it was yesterday.
That's cool. I mean, I always wonder about that when you step off of the stage of, like, I don't want to say normal people life, but when you don't have these stressors that few people are used to, or maybe millions are used to, but not billions, right? So you just change the dynamic. It's like a car accident, it's like something out of the ordinary in your life, and so you're there on this thing, and every week it gets bigger, and I assume Bill Walton starts showing up,
absolutely.
And Coach Wooden starts showing up, and
Coach Wooden starts showing up,
right? And you're like, wait a minute,
we might actually do this,
right? And then like Jack Nicholson shows up, or whoever, whoever got the $10,000 tickets up front, but just. So all that, and you sort of saw it happening, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it hasn't been done since gives it even a little bit more significance.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the stars come off of the athletic program there, I think, probably just because, well, I don't know. I mean, I hear theories, but state schools versus other schools, and who's developing it how and stuff. It's interesting, right?
Yep.
Whatever the reason was.
Yeah.
Whatever cockamamie theory I have about why it happened. So that's awesome. So then you say, hey, and more playing time, big decision. You're going to go down the street and play somewhere else. And you played, and then put yourself up for the draft, and then you sort of just moved into professional basketball.
Yeah. So it was definitely tough. So I made the decision. We had a 5-star recruit came in, a guy by the name of Jelani McCoy. Played in the NBA for about 10 years.
Right, I know that name.
Yeah, so he came in. I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and so I took a leap of faith and transferred to Long Beach State, just down the road. And I remember, just because I wanted to play, wanted more playing time. But it was funny because I was going there, I was playing for them, but I was still driving back and forth, getting my UCLA degree because I wanted to get my degree from UCLA. So I remember during that time period when I was ineligible, going back and forth, driving a 45-minute drive from Long Beach to Westwood every day, and then coming back for practice. And then, that year I played, things didn't really go as well, didn't go the way I expected, almost really regretted it, thought I should have stayed at UCLA. And that following year, draft night came, and the whole prospects came, and I wasn't drafted. And for the most part, my basketball career was over. So I remember that summer, just kind of hung out at Westwood, was finishing my UCLA degree, and had no money, and it was just finished it. And I got a letter from my dad, saying, I know you really love basketball and it's always been your dream, but maybe it's kind of time to kind of hang it up. There's so many other things you can do, with your life that you're more well suited to. Maybe it's time to kind of, come back to Houston and kind of figure things out. And I remember that night, I was like, you know what, maybe he's right. I made the decision to come back. My dad actually sent me some money to get a plane ticket to come back to Houston. So I went out with my buddies to go drinking and kind of just celebrate. And I remember while I'm in the bar in the club with my buddies, I get a call from this agent, and he told me there's a team in Venezuela.
Oh my!
Their starting center just got hurt. If I wanted to go out to Venezuela and try out, it was like for 9 days. They were going to pay me $300 a day, and come out there and see how it goes. And I was like, hey, sure, I'll go. I had nothing really going on. I had like $10 in my bank account. So the next thing I know, I'm on a flight to Venezuela, and I go out there and I'm playing on this tryout, basically waiting for the starting center guy to get. I guess he had some kind of minor injury, so I was kind of filling a place for him, and I went out there and I just killed, in those 9 days. And I was playing like I've never played before. I was out there just killing and dominating. I got a contract to stay out there. So I stayed there in Venezuela, played for the next 6 months. I think that was back in the days when they had like 4 or 5 games a week. So I ended up playing like 60 games in like 2 months. Ooh. More than I'd ever played in college, my whole college career.
Yeah,
got that experience playing against other pros. And then that led to an opportunity in Puerto Rico, which was kind of like an NBA summer league at the time. Played well there, and then that's when I got invited to camp with Dallas off of that. And then after that, started kind of like my basketball journey.
Wow. Yeah. So you literally did quit for 6 hours or something. Right?
Yeah. No offers. Nobody.
Wow.
Wasn't on the radar at all whatsoever.
So is that part of your speech, if you have one?
Yeah.
Don't give up the dream.
Yeah, that's basically kind of like my whole kind of spiel. That's like my story. That's kind of led me on this kind of like basketball escapade for the past 20 years. That's even brought me here. Just in that moment, not giving up and still chasing that dream. It led me to a lot of different countries, a lot of different kinds of situations. But ultimately, I was able to kind of fulfill my dream in a small way. I was able to be on an NBA court and play against some of my idols and be in some great moments. I was also able to go to a lot of different countries in the world I probably would have never seen or dreamed of going otherwise.
Yeah.
It's all because of kind of that. So that's kind of my whole kind of thing that I try to kind of impart to my kids now. They're in my academy.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, you're a rare dude now. I don't know why I use that language. So you're a rare guy. I'm sorry for calling you a dude. It's sort of ridiculous.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but it's still, you're a rare guy in the sense that, like, I think people who travel as much as you have and live in those locations are rare.
Yeah.
So you're already in that group.
Yeah.
People who play professional basketball, that's also a rare. So you see that Venn diagrams, right? You're in a small group of people.
Yeah.
And it allows you, I think it allows that type of travel and that type of mobility allows you to comment.
Yep.
Right. So what you do with those comments is up to you. And if you lash out or say stuff which you don't do, then that's the wrong way to comment. But it gives a different view. And I think probably you and I, because of the amount of traveling we've done, so I've lived in a lot of different countries, but you could argue my Nigeria experience on a compound is, I don't know, colonial. Who knows what you'd call it? But it was different, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I really tried to get out, move around, and had some good friends, and played with the guys in the band there. Frank, you've heard those recordings. These guys were the best musicians next to Frank that I've ever played with, and so, Charles and Chris were their nicknames, and these guys, drummer, bass player, these guys. They'd tell me one Sunday they came over to play the next day, and they said they had a 8-hour gig with one break. So that was outside in the sun, and he said, "Yeah, after like 4 hours, you can't feel your hands. You're just playing." And he said, "And the wedding parties love to dance, so it's 8 hours of upbeat music." But so I don't know if it, experiences like that or as rounding is sort of professional athletics, which are just all the time embedded in society, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a journey, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And does it make you more understanding and patient, or does it make you less sort of when you see what's going on in the United States. I'm just curious. So it's 2020 October. I've said that.
Yeah.
It's just is not what you and I are used to,
Not at all.
or maybe it is what one of us is used to. I'm not.
No, I'm not used to it either.
Right, and so we're just sort of spectators who have been traveling around a lot.
Yeah.
Do you stay tuned in, or do you shy away, or what are your reactions?
No, I mean, I think I'm a little bit too tuned in. Yeah, I'm definitely stay tuned in and connected, because I think I kind of have a different perspective, as I'm sure you kind of do, as how things that go on there, how they affect the rest of the world and how they affect us this year, and perceptions of us in different parts of the world. So I definitely stay connected with it. And then also the fact that I have, you know, my family's there still, like my brother, and my brother just had a kid, and my little sister, and, you know, my other sister that has a family there. So I definitely stay very connected with it, and definitely kind of concerned with when I see certain things.
Yeah. All in Houston, or was there Atlanta?
No, so my sister, one of my sisters, she's in El Paso. Yeah, and then my brother's in Austin, and then my youngest sister, she's in Seattle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and my grandmother's in Houston. My grandmother and my aunties are in Houston, and my cousins. Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty spread out. That's a lot like my family. It's sort of, you go back and you're thinking, wow, I'm going to be traveling a lot to see everyone.
Yeah.
And then at some point you say, I'm just going to see this one person this time.
Yeah, but we all pretty much come back to Houston whenever we're in town. So.
Yeah. Are they still all up in Cyprus, or?
No. My grandmother is in. She's near the Galleria, and then my other sister, the middle sister, she's in Nigeria right now. So I'm definitely worried about her with everything that's going on there right now.
Tough week, right?
Yeah. So it's been tough. Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
Not that I would know. I mean, I've lost sort of touch with my buddies, but I hate to see it.
Yeah.
Because those guys know how to do crowd control, and they do it hard, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, my toughest experiences there seem to be, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, well, I mean, is she, she's got to be, is she married and have a family there?
Yeah, so she's married, and she has my nephew, my niece.
Okay, I was struggling to, I remember you telling me that. So she lives in Lagos?
Yeah, she lives in Lagos, in Lekki.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
In Lekki. So
VI?
Yeah, VI, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's right down the road, right? The Lekki Expressway. Yeah. I had one of my fondest memories there, maybe like sitting looking at the clock at the national championship, but I had a beach hut on El Eco Beach.
Okay.
And I remember just one day I went and my hut was gone. It got washed away. So it's like, this is tough. That coast there was really beautiful, but it was tough.
Yeah.
It was fun. I loved going there. Yeah. All right, so we get you on the road, and you hit the road. And so, at what point do you start thinking about the teaching as an outlet? Was it early, late?
No, not at all. No, to be honest with you, I was always of the mind that when I was done playing basketball, I wasn't going to really have anything to do with basketball when it was done. My dream was to go to law school, so kind of have your job. So I told myself that every year that I played was just kind of putting it off before I eventually did what I was supposed to be doing, by being a lawyer and going to law school. So at the end of my career, the last place I played was here in Thailand. So I came here the inaugural season of the ABL.
Right.
And it was a team called the Bangkok Tigers.
Tigers, that's right.
No, hold on, Thailand Tigers.
Thailand Tigers,
yeah. And so I played a season with them, and then the plan was season ended, and I realized, at 36 it was time to hang it up. I'd been on this great ride, but I was going to get ready to try to go to law school like in my mid-30s. And all the places I played, whenever the season was over, I'd always try to get back as soon as I could, get back to the States and get back with my family. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just hang out here in Bangkok for a while, study for the LSAT, and just enjoy Bangkok.
Wow.
So that was the plan, and I was here just hanging out, experiencing, enjoying Bangkok. And one of the teachers at NIST, he was the basketball coach at NIST. His name was Randy, and he invited me. He was I don't know.
Wait, I knew Randy.
Yeah, you know Randy?
Right.
Yeah.
He was actually a good shooter.
Randy Wallace. Yeah, great guy.
He played with that one guy and won the league, the Top Flight League that one year when you got that hot shot short fellow. You brought him over.
Who's that?
Oh God, this guy pissed me off, but he scored like 60 points one
You
day
mean
when
Matt?
I played. Yeah,
Matt Van Pelt? Yeah.
I love you, Matt. Wherever you are, but that one night you drained like 60 on us. I wanted to kill you.
Yeah. So
They played together, right? Randy.
No, Randy. I think Randy stopped playing at that point.
Okay, I remember Randy though.
Coaching. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, sweetheart.
Yeah. So he invited me to come and work with his varsity team. And so I came and started doing stuff with them and just helping out. And the athletic director there, a guy by the name of Paul Hodgkinson. He was like, you know what, you're so good with these kids. We would love to have you, have more of a presence here at NIST and, work with our teams. And he's like, would you be interested in starting your own basketball academy? And I was like, well, never really had thought about it, but I was going to be here anyway.
So what year are we talking about?
This is 2010.
10, okay, so recent history, still a memory.
2010. And so, I had no idea, I knew a lot about basketball, obviously, because I played, but I never had too much of experience in coaching or anything like that. But I had like a natural I just really loved like working with kids. And so I just was kind of doing it on the fly. On the weekends, we'd have a group of kids come to NIST and just had more and more coming week after week. Started opening up more days. We had, ECAs during the week, and then we had a weekend academy. And then we started having teams, started competing against other teams. We had our elite teams, and we started doing leagues, and the whole thing just kind of organically grew and started getting more schools in Bangkok. And, it's just kind of grown and, been on this ride for the past 10 years. So now we have a lot of different places, a lot of different schools.
God, I got a lot of questions out of that. I mean, it's interesting. So where are you living in Bangkok when you're playing for the Tigers?
So they had me in Saturn. I remember I had a bachelor pad on Saturn, Soy 11.
Fun area.
Yeah, right? Definitely fun. Yeah. Anywhere was in downtown. Bangkok was fun at that time. Yeah.
And then you moved at least once or twice.
Yeah, so then I moved to Nam Dupli, Saturn, near Saturn Soy 1. And I met, my girlfriend, who was my wife at the time, Agnes. Yeah, I met her, and we moved in. We got a place there.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. So, I mean, the way you describe it, and I know we're on cameras and stuff, and we're not eating food and laughing or talking, but it's sort of, you describe it as sort of like, the same awakening you had at other phases of your life.
Definitely.
And basketball just opened up these things for you.
Absolutely.
And you're not competing against your dad or like his desire to have you, but then you do this law thing and you're like, LSAT. And I can imagine you're just like pulling your own teeth out to do that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it is for even people who love law. That was just like, Jesus, what does this measure? This measures how rich you are to take a course, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And if Ike and Joe and Frank get on the bus at the same time, you're like, what the hell does, right? What is that test?
Oh, man.
Right? Just who could buy the course?
Flashbacks, yeah.
And so you're doing that. Do you feel like you're dying doing that, or is it like, I got to do it?
No, it's more like I'll do it. And I mean, I wasn't dying, but it definitely wasn't as fun as what I'm, as coaching the kids. So I would do that for 5-6 hours a day, and then going and working with these kids would be just such a high, it'd be such a magical, kind of experience to work with these kids.
What is that? Why? I mean,
for me, I love kids because they're just so honest. They haven't really been kind of, corrupted or jaded by the world, or whether they're just honest about the way things are. And I just love being able to kind of cultivate that passion in them, not just for basketball, for anything they want to do in life, and to be able to be in that position to be able to have an influence on somebody and, what they're going to do or who they're going to be. Something that I really passionate about. I love it.
It's sort of a love of the game theory thing, right? Like they're not corrupted by going to Long Beach and being unhappy with the decision, or like, wait, I thought I was, It's interesting, and I'm not trying to attach meaning to things that aren't there. So tell me to shut up if I'm not making any sense. But it's interesting. The moments of inspiration for you seem to come out of a pure
happenstance.
Right. Like, I like this.
Yeah.
Or this is good. Like this.
Totally.
And you get to go to Venezuela and you're like, oh wait, I can play super competitive with these guys, which should have been clear to you because you won the national championship, right? But so you were let down in your own eyes because you didn't go first in the draft, but at the same time you're still dumping 40 points on guys in the court, and it's like, all right, But,
I got that passion. I got definitely renewed my passion and love for the game because, at UCLA I was playing against first rounders and guys that were playing. So yeah, I definitely got demoralized and really kind of questioned myself if I could really even play, if I was even that good. And to be able to go to Venezuela and be the man and get that confidence and that passion back, that definitely renewed that. And kind of the same thing with, with Top Flight, with, when my career was over and I was like, okay, this is transitioning back into the real world and doing a real job. And then being able to like work with kids and, be able to do that. And it's a living, but just be able to go to the court every day and, and work with kids as my job. It's great. Yeah, it's great.
It's funny because that's the thing. All right, so Bangkok's a small town for expats. And so, I mean, one of the themes today for me with you is maybe we would be friendly with each other in the community just because expats seek each other out and hang out maybe occasionally, but, basketball, so you have that in common, and so U.S. and Nigeria, so you have that in common. But there's sort of this grapevine on the street of expats, and the word back on you is always how nice you are with people's kids at the academy. And it's just, Ike's awesome, my kids love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not, I love them is different than my kids love them, right? That's hard-earned praise, right?
Yeah,
because kids can be brutal.
Definitely.
In particular here with the sort of the fussy parents, like word gets out you're not nice, it's sort of the death knell here because it's pretty protective for the expat community.
Absolutely.
But you're doing both Thai and expats. And so I've met, at the club I belong to, I've met folks who say, Ike teaches our son, or Ike's Academy, or guys teaching it. So it's very funny how that comes back, and I'm never surprised to hear that, but I'm always happy to hear it because I was like, that's cool. He could be, in it for a buck and just taking the admission, but to get fired up and do it is a cool sign that you're doing your thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, for me, it's just natural. I know, like I said, at the end of the day, definitely I do it for a living. That's how I provide for my family, but I genuinely have a passion. I love it, and I think I don't really consider it work.
Yes, it's weird. I'm trying to figure out what podcasts are for. This is a podcast, Roman Anton podcast. We're going to start releasing them soon, and so hopefully people dial in, basketball fans, Bangkok fans, Roman Anton fans, whatever, curious people. So what's the goal of having this discussion? You and I were standing next to each other when a friend of mine, a 7-footer like you, was running down the court and he popped his Achilles, right?
Yeah.
And you turned to me and you said, we shared our commiseration, and I ran out, and after everything calmed down a little bit and we realized I had to take him to the hospital, you said, that's why I don't play anymore. And it was such a jarring event because all of us wanted to be you there, right? In that league, and you said it in the trailer video that you had out, like, this is your chance, y'all professionals doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. This is your chance to come and play ball and have officials and refs and jerseys and, timekeeper and live a dream.
Yeah. Not
the dream, you're not playing LeBron and calm down on each other, right? But I remember when you said that, I was so jarring because I was like, wait, no, you can't say that. But I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah. You were playing against tremendously strong bruisers and like, the risk of loss of life was part of the game. So, like, are you still in your head? You don't play. You're not.
Yeah, to me, like the only time I miss it, the only time I truly miss it, is when I watch like the NBA. When I watch the NBA playoffs or the finals or something like that, or high level basketball. That's what I miss. I miss that. But the idea of going out to the park and playing 5-on-5, that doesn't entice me at all.
Just because you get hurt?
Probably get hurt. That's definitely part of it. I definitely get hurt. And I think it's not necessarily to get hurt just because I'd be hurt. It's because I couldn't coach the kids. And so that would be like a death sentence for me. So that's what I'm scared of. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So, like, I looked at the Obama presidency when he'd play his pickup game, and then I heard there was other games. But, obviously older at that point and risking injury at that point. And we always hear those stories of Achilles. But if you were surrounded by 9 other professional players, would you go out there?
I think so. I think
if you were back in Westwood?
I would definitely, I think I'd be up for that.
Because you're still very fit.
Yeah.
And you do your yoga, you told me, right? Yeah. And you do a workout yoga, hot yoga. So you're...
Yeah, Bikram yoga,
Yeah. And are you doing cardio stuff to stay in shape?
I do. So I got a routine. I got a regimen. So I do. I run in Nichida I do my hot yoga with my old teacher, Soy 60, and then I do F45.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
The one right here?
Yeah, right here in the silk.
You know Scott Het?
I do. I know Scott.
Scotty. I shouldn't say his last name because he didn't let me. Yeah, Scotty. Mike Fay. So we got the Mike Fay connection.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, then one of the guys who played in our men's league, his name's Kenny. So
Kenny, right.
he runs it. Yeah,
Right,
so I do that. So I do all those.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scotty's a great guy.
Great guy.
Actually, Scotty and Frank and I wrote a couple songs together, and Scott's played them with us.
I didn't know that
he's a phenomenal piano player.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
You remember that, Frank? We came over and he's like you. There's no room under the piano, and he's got big hands, and he's playing, and I'm like, what the hell are you going to do, Scotty? And he starts playing Pachelbel, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
But Mike Fay, yes. I mean, so
Mike, yeah.
So that comment you made to me was so jarring because I was like, wait, I thought like these guys always wanted to suit up, conditions permitting.
Yeah.
But then it's like, is it because you can't play to that professional level anymore too?
Yeah.
Like, why would I try
hurts.
dunking?
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah. But you're still the best guy in Bangkok, period. I think probably,
so,
right?
Yeah, I think
right.
so. I tell myself that anyway. Yeah.
No, but there's an argument for it every day, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
definitely.
I mean, it's funny because it's, on some lesser extent as I watch my tennis skills diminish where I used to be pretty good.
Yep.
A lot of my reactions are born out of frustration. And so I get that.
Yep.
Because of aging, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think another one of my motivations for me might be kind of cheesy, but trying to preserve myself because when Ike and Renzi get to a certain age, I want to be able to play with them.
Right.
I want to be able to show them stuff at a certain level. So I don't want to get hurt to where I can't be able to demonstrate like the dream shake or post moves with Ike. So I tell that to Agnes all the time. I'm like, that's why I kind of try to maintain this regimen because I want to be, when I'm in my mid-50s, to be able to go out with Ike and show him like my post series and all these different moves and all this footwork.
Maybe you could show us that move tomorrow at I think that's what I was hoping he'd say, Frank. Man, you don't need to do it on me because I might get my head knocked off. But I have this image. I have this image of Trump at a camera, and Dick Edelman, whatever his name was, says, Donald, you're managing camera 4 for us or something like this. And Donald's like, yeah, I'm too expensive for you guys to afford me as a cameraman. And then Hakeem does a move on Robinson, a spin move, in the game where he scored 39. You remember that monster game?
41.
41, right. And they go on to the finals then, right?
Yep.
And they win that
It was
year.
the night that they gave Robinson the MVP.
Oh, my goodness. Right.
Yeah, my favorite game.
And he just went crazy. And Trump, do you remember Trump was in that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But I remember that the one move, the camera angle was so perfect.
Yeah.
And he does the spin.
Yep.
And Robinson's playing great D from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And Hakeem is just at his peak.
Yeah, definitely.
And he goes
on
in and
roller
he's
skates.
8 feet away from Robinson in one move.
Yeah, had him on roller skates that night. Yeah, I remember.
That is seared in my brain. There's another one that Hakeem did on Kevin McHale. Could that be right? Yeah, that's right. That is seared in my brain. It was a different camera angle, but the dream shake for those of us who watch. So you have Ewing, you have Robinson, it's the air. Shaq is just coming in. It's insanity.
Yep.
The air of the big man is upon us.
Yep.
The post play is the premier NBA play.
Yep.
Have guard, dribble, pass in, and watch the madness, right?
And
Patrick developed his move in the lane. Robinson developed that 20-foot jumper from the baseline that was unstoppable. Ewing had a whole series of things. And Hakeem...
Top of the mountain. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Of big men.
Absolutely. Hands down.
At the hardest time, maybe apart from the 60s when Robinson or when Chamberlain and Russell were crushing each other, but it's 2 or 3, but 5 or 6, right?
Yep. Definitely.
Awesome period of time.
It was.
Yeah, and so I could see you like, yes, I want to be able to, I want to
show that to my sons. Yeah.
and say how important that was.
It is important to me. I mean, I don't know if they're even going to be basketball players, if they're going to love basketball, but I want to be able to, if they do, to be able to show them.
Let me tell you this. Look, you got your own paternal memories and all that. I'm not trying to supersede those. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not doing anything. But to this day, I remember the day I beat my dad 7-5 on Pershing Tennis Court in Racine, Wisconsin, third court. Backhand down the line to his outstretched forehand where I passed him and I beat him. It wasn't a great day because I beat him, but he taught me all that.
Yeah.
And there's so many times in the day or the week where I think back to what my dad taught me in the tennis court. And I hold on to tennis now for many reasons. And I think the loss of my tennis skills makes his death more apparent, but also, makes the training sort of, it goes away, right? And so it's so profound. And so I will guarantee you this, Ike Jr., is same first name?
Yeah.
So is he the second?
No, not the second. He's Ikenna.
Okay.
Second,
Okay. He'll love it.
Yeah.
I mean, and he may love it in 2040 more than he loves it right now, right?
Yeah.
But
Right now he has no interest, but we'll see.
But you got to videotape it, right? I mean,
definitely.
that's the one thing that I would have loved to have seen some of that. Apart from how probably ungrateful I was as a son at that point in time, which I look back in horror at some of the sort of.
Yeah.
I think sons are like that a lot. But I think back to those memories as some of the best ever with my dad now.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Frank and I have my share of songs that we've written. You may have seen that one coming in the door, and I got it open on that music book. But I've written a couple to him. One is called The Bodhi Tree, and we got a bunch of views on that on Facebook. We got 3 million views, mainly from Myanmar. But, I think if people like that one, Frank, I'm not sure what you think. It's because I think it's one of the few that I wrote from the heart about my dad, right?
Yeah.
And so it's weird. So I think back of you, like how meaningful that would be, because it's meaningful to me, and I wasn't a professional athlete, but that guy, I remember thinking, this guy's so awesome. Yeah. I just remember I would watch those games and just say, oh, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
I see a little of that, and I feel a little of that with Giannis now.
Okay.
Because it's so sort of new to me.
Yeah.
Like how fast he does what he does and his spin moves.
Yep.
There's a lot of Hakeem in that though too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he has the same kind of back to the basket moves, but I think the athleticism.
Not at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't think anyone had the same back to the basket moves. Right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Olajuwon is just in a class by himself.
Yeah. I saw him do this maybe a right-handed tip into the basket with just 2 fingers. It was so gentle, and he got it. And I was like, what a phenomenally talented, skillful, dexterous dude.
Absolutely.
Just like,
Absolutely.
it was so graceful. I don't know.
Ballerina, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the word I'm struggling for. Is his moves. It's back to the basket. He sort of says, Shaq style, or the other guys are Ewing, but he had his own version of that.
He definitely did.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home and do YouTube. I guess I'll do this now to go watch.
I watch it all the time, and it brings tears in my eyes. I watch the workouts he was doing. So he was doing workouts with Kobe and LeBron and Dwight Howard and all these guys. And
after the fact,
he's in his mid 50s, and he's still all the footwork's still there. He still has it. It's beautiful to watch.
I could imagine. It's like Mike Tyson. I've been watching this training he's been doing on video for this fight with Roy Jones Jr. But it's. I imagine Hakeem. I'm sure he has weight, and I'm sure he has knee or ankle issues because he played a long time.
Yeah.
But just his grace, right?
Absolutely. I think he's definitely the most underrated and overlooked and disrespected NBA star in history. I don't think people give him enough credit for what he was able to accomplish.
Is that the Nigerian in you, or is that the NBA player in you, or is
maybe it's a little bit of both? But I feel like for where his place in history, the championships he won, all-time leading rebounder. When we talk about all the greats, and you don't have him in a top 10 conversation, I think it's just ridiculous.
Well, you and I agreed to that when we had dinner that one time. We sort of wrote those down. Then we talked about players that have revolutionized the game, and we sort of talked about Harden then, but 2 years later we'd probably say he's done something different. But I agreed with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
And I think, and I want to say he was such a quiet dude.
I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like John
So
Stockton in a lot of ways. Like, I don't remember him. I don't remember seeing interviews with him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember so much of and I spent so much time watching him and Karl Malone play because it was NBC, Marv Albert, it was the whole.
Yeah.
So it's funny how some guys just really.
I think the fact that he was just so humble and so modest, and I think even they wanted to put a statue of him in front of the Toyota Center, and because of his religion, he was like, no, I don't want you to make a statue out of me. And I think because of that fact, I think it works against him when we look at the all-time greats.
Right.
Because he's such a humble man.
God, but you and I would want that statue. I mean, I would go back to Houston and go look at it.
Yeah.
If he had one there.
Yeah.
Right?
But could you imagine anybody saying that, no, don't do that? So, I think that just speaks more to another reason why I love the man so much.
Yeah, I was down there in December last year. I think I told you I went back, and I was staying downtown by the Toyota Center. I went to see, I went to see a Rockets game. I think it was the Bucks. I think I saw my boys there.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I would have remembered that. It was a Rockets someone else game, but I didn't realize that. If I believe this, and I don't know if this matters, but there's a Central Mosque downtown, and I'd heard he bought that, or he and it was, and I may be making this up. You can edit this out or tell me I'm an idiot, but and the reason was to keep it up. So and I've heard he's invested quite a bit in real estate there, anyways. But I thought, wow, what a what am I saying? Does that help his image? Does it hurt his image? Who cares? It's not about image, but it's just like him doing a community thing, right?
Yep.
Which he's always done there, right?
Always, yeah.
Right? First one to reach into his pocket.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm sure millions, if not tens of millions of his money have gone charitably, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just sort of the walking legacy of the way, it reminds me a lot of how I've seen Bill Russell handle himself over the years as well, right? Just
the quiet dignity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And just the clarity of thought when he's asked about stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being a Georgetown alum of sorts, a lot of the way that Dikembe sort of tried to be a statesman, in particular for Africa issues, so I'm not going to try and fob off that. That's not my cause. But, he did it as well in a different way. But I agree with you. I mean, let's call this, it's Chulalongkorn Day. Let's call it Akeem Day as well, right? We're going to agree on that. Yeah. So let me, I didn't keep a list here, but there were things I wanted to bring up, and I covered a lot of them. But so Top Flight, so www.topflight.com.
Topflightbangkok.com.
Top Flight Bangkok, BANCKOK.
BANGKOK.
Okay, not the BKK. So a lot of us use BKK as initials, and you get here too long, and you start typing that, and people don't know what you're talking about. But
Top Flight Bangkok.
Yeah, so you have Hong Kong still, but maybe hesitating for a moment while we're working through COVID, so we'll knock on wood for that. You got Bangkok. You're still slugging it out. Your family's away, so you're here teaching ball.
Yep.
Boy, once upon a time, I watched your video on there. It was great. Just sort of the way you presented it, not sold it. You presented it to me as a guy wanting to get in a league where I could be somewhat protected and safe and not, going out and falling on cement, but playing on a wood floor with, with refs and sort of go and do your thing. And so Top Flight is an institution, and so I think it fits in really well with sort of the folks I'd want to have on here, apart from the national champion and apart from the basketball experience and apart from you being a cool guy. It's something, it's a big deal in Thailand to have this. And Thailand and Hong Kong, I mean, they love their basketball here.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
It's funny. I mean, it's not the first thing that leaps to mind because they have really good soccer attendance, football attendance, and Muay Thai martial arts attendance. So there are other sports that also capture their fancy here, and they're phenomenal golf courses, but huge basketball fans. And so I think it's a great service you provide. It's very cool because you're a personality here, and people get the benefit of that. And I think that's one really cool thing about Thai society is if it's legit, they'll come.
Exactly.
Right? It's like, wait, this guy knows how to shoot and, knows how to teach and has this thought about basketball as opposed to here's a ball, there's the court, I'll come back in 3 hours. Right, which you can get into online or, just, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so you have some really good folks who've played with you over the years, some who I've had a chance to run around in the court with who are fun.
Yep.
I think of Dave, who's a cool kid.
Yeah,
and,
David Grice.
We played ball at the embassy for years, and I remember the first time he knocked me over, I thought that was unnecessary, so I just told him that here. But so you have, professional basketball players who are part of your academy as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think in recent years, we've also been able to have a lot of great kind of Thai university students and Thai players be part of our coaching staff, and that's been great too, to be able to have them on our staff, and some of them really be some of our best coaches too. So I'm very lucky. Over the past 10 years, I've been lucky to have a lot of great people in our organization. A lot of them come and go, but every year I'm always blessed with having a great staff.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good, it's a good point because it's not what we should do. That sounds ridiculous, but my prior life or in the work life is, obviously sharing knowledge is huge, right?
Yeah, totally.
There's not many folks in Asia with your knowledge base, right?
Yeah.
So you're sharing it, but your coaches do a good job too, and I hear that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a top flight coach. Oh, yeah. I'll send my kid to that. And I was like, right, yeah. I mean, it's trusted hands, which is cool. And you also have, you have women teaching on your staff as well,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
So which is cool. And I'm not saying it's remarkable here. Thai society is very open, very accepting.
I mean, one of my best coaches, she's her name is Ning, and she started off as an intern. So I was given a speech at her university.
Nice.
So I was giving a speech talking about my journey, and
There you go.
she was in the audience, and it was like afterwards asked if there was an opportunity to kind of intern with Top Flight.
Nice.
And so she kind of came on board, and over the past 3 years or so, she's, if not my best, one of my best coaches and one of my most trusted coaches. And so watching her kind of develop and grow, and what she does on the basketball court, she's awesome. Well,
here's the Kun Ning. Way to go. Boss, how about that? You got that one committed to tape, so got to ask for a raise, Kun Ning. No, but it's funny as you raise a great point here. I mean, the concept of internship to me in America is part of this ladder climbing experience that you have to do to get to this thing. It's not, it's maybe my experience, and I'm maybe being too harsh. It's not about a transfer of knowledge. It's about a box check where I come from.
Yeah.
I'm not saying for my parents. My parents were legit. I'm not putting them down, but I had this notion that I have to do these things to get to the next step.
Yeah.
And I did or I didn't, I don't know. But here, I have fundamentally changed my view to both when you're asked about giving internships, because in Thai society sometimes you may have to or you should be expected to, but there truly is this notion of, can you teach me here that I really am into and I really respect. And I could see a guy like you, like after you hear that being said to you in truth, as opposed to I just want to hang out with Ike and I want my selfie and I'll have it as my screensaver with this Laker, or whatever, which I imagine you're probably guarded enough to understand that, right? But getting the wisdom.
Absolutely.
Right? Going to the mountain. Right?
Absolutely. It means a lot to me too. It means a lot.
Yeah, I can hear it or feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when you're fooling around with me or when you're coming straight, and and I've seen you give your kickoff every year for the league, which those are, you mean those words, right? I've seen you when you're serious.
It means a lot to me being here in Thailand for the past 10 years. I mean, once again, I don't want to sound too cheesy or cliche or whatever, but I kind of look at myself as kind of as an example. So I feel like I want to represent not only like my family and myself, but just kind of represent Americans in general, as to just being able to be a good example of like why I'm here, being a good example of like, I think we all know we've been here long enough, people that are here for the wrong reasons,
right.
And so I want to be kind of an example of I'm not here just to take. I'm here to be able to provide and give my wisdom and be shown as a good example while I'm here.
I think that's a very cool thing for you to say to me, and I'm gonna look back to maybe the first time I sat with you, as you said, "Hey, you're in the league. We're gonna have happy hour chicken wings and beer at one of your places."
Yep.
And I showed up, and you were there. Didn't know you. I obviously wanted a selfie. The guy had the bromance going already. You didn't know, but I said, we sat down, we talked, and I thought, wow, this guy wants to offer what he can here. He's not going to hand everyone $1,000 and trophies and free Nikes and get in on my endorsements. But it was like, hey, I got a discounted drinks and booze. I brought you guys together.
Yep.
We'll talk about ball. And I thought that that, and I said this earlier to you, and I guess I want you to hear it because I felt it.
Yeah.
And so I'm an old man, and I'm older than you. You can call me Olga if you want to, but I felt it that night. I was like, hey, Ike is doing something here that's very well intentioned.
Thank you.
And he's handing out the things he can hand out to us. So get in line or gather around or do it however you do, but take it when you can. And so I'm gonna hand you back that compliment, and you didn't acknowledge it earlier, so I'm gonna repeat it until you say thanks, Joe. No, I mean, I have learned a lot watching how you manage your academy from afar.
Thank you.
And it's really exceptional leadership, and I'm not saying Thailand needs it or doesn't, but it's great that it's here because it's in something that I love in basketball. And any messenger of the word for basketball, I'm a huge fan of, but you do it right. And I think it's important for people listening, if they're dialing in and trying at a young age or even at an old age and trying to figure out how they dominate the world or how they do their thing, it's, hopefully it's with good intentions, right?
Definitely.
Because, man, we see so much of it going wrong right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good spot to end this, because I feel like I wanted, I thematically like to link stuff up, not for no other reason than, I sit and think about stuff, and I thought like I'd really like to have Ike come on, and there'll be a time when we talk to maybe get this, but I really hadn't figured out sort of how your journey and the life lessons are something that I'm drawn to, and how clear you are in terms of articulating your decisions with your father, which we all struggle with, and how cool he seemed to be about it. And
my hero.
The epic departure for him, and then your hero turns into your meeting your other hero, and they both happen to be, Nigerian icons.
Absolutely.
Right, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
And so I think this is a feel-good story for listeners, and when I know we had sort of the national championship, and then you said, hey, my career was over, but you set us up for this other story. And so it's sort of developing your thing. Yeah. And I remember when you were talking to me about Hong Kong, I think that's probably when we talked the most and just talked about visas and talked about legal stuff. And, it was sort of fun watching you struggle with that because it was you obviously want to be teaching, and then you've got to do this other business stuff. And so you're doing that as well. And it's just sort of is cool. And so I think, coming here, I think it's all been tied together for me, just sort of a better story. So hopefully people who listen to this catch this, but we got part 2 to do. If you don't mind jumping in a car, we're going to hit and go take a look at the Bangkok section. So be short, and then tomorrow we'll stop by and catch you, and you're going to show me the move that you're going to show your son. All right, but thanks for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. No problem at all, Joe.
All right, Franco, let's pack this up and hit the road. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good, man.
I had fun.
Yeah, I did too.
How long was that, Franco?
All right, good to see you here today. Thanks again. I appreciate you. So we're at your Top Flight Academy today.
Absolutely.
We're at Chulalongkorn University. You got some active sessions. But what I wanted to see was you sort of breaking down a routine for us. So I say that as if I know what I'm talking about. But what are you about to show us?
So I'm about to go through my post series. I do with all the big guys we have in our group. That's one thing I really love. One of my specialties is post footwork. So I'm going to take you through the same kind of post footwork that I do with all my bigs before practice.
So we're looking over that guy's shoulder here. We got 3 or 4 really big guys. That guy's maybe over 200 pounds already, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Young man though, huh?
Yeah, so this is my U20 team.
Nice.
A lot of these guys are looking to try to play college basketball in the States and other places, and so this is like our signature team here.
Nice. So you're sort of the forward post for talent identification in Thailand, and you'd report back to the U.S. and say...
Pretty much, yeah.
And so when you say post move, what does that mean in basketball, post move?
Well, so like we kind of talked about yesterday, back to the basket centers are kind of a lost art these days in the game. But that was something that, from my era, that was really big, being able to score on the block. So basically kind of the same post moves of a classic big man. Even though it's not as much of a part of today's game, I think it's still definitely a skill that everybody should have.
Who's your idea of a post player in today's game?
I would say a guy like Joel Embiid. Right. I think he's a throwback to those guys, those centers of old. I like Djokovic. I like him a lot. His footwork, I think, is impeccable. So those are 2 guys that really stand out.
Right, and his passing skills. I mean,
absolutely.
Djokovic, awesome. But so you mean post down in this area. So we're at Chulalongkorn University, which is one of the spots you hold your academy.
Yep.
It's a beautiful facility. It's the first time I've been in here. So we're in the center of Bangkok, Thailand. Ike, Top Flight, www.topflightbangkok.com.
Yes, sir.
And Ike is going to show him some moves. I'm going to keep the mic on, but I'm going to back away. So if you finish your session, you want to explain what you're going to do next, call me over and we'll mic it up, all right?
Sounds good. All right.
You ready?
All right, ready.
All right.
It's the classic drop step move. Want to post up, have my foot on the block, big target for my guard, ball underneath my chin. First move I do, so I kind of like to roll the ball out to myself, catch it here. Elbows out, drop step, right. So do it again. Here, get big. Here, drop step. That's the first move in my series. Then, from there, I like to set up that drop step, so I'll go with the dribble to the middle.
So the first one to the hoop, second one to the middle.
Exactly, so I look to the middle. I want to set this up, so I'm looking middle.
Nice.
Next move in the series, it's a continuation of what I just did. So I'm going to go to the middle. Turn. Look middle. From here. Turn.
So that one's incorporating a fake.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right?
Call it the shimmy.
The shimmy. All
So
right.
I go back
Nice.
middle.
That's awesome.
So I'm here, I look, turn, looking middle. Setting that up to get that separation to go back middle. 1, 2, turn.
So would you ever have a dunk at the end of that shimmy, or is it always a fadeaway shot like that, or a shot?
So the next move would probably be
All right, there we go.
A couple of ducks. I'll go. 1, turn.
So what do you call that?
That's a step through.
Step through.
Yeah, so a step
So shimmy, then step through.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Let me take a break.
All right, so what was the name of the first one? Do you have names for all
So
of
the
them?
first one was the drop step.
Drop step?
And then the second one was I'm setting it up, I'm looking middle. So it's the 2 crab dribbles to the middle.
All right.
2.
Third was shimmy.
Third is the shimmy. And then I go to the up and under.
Up and under.
All right. So those are all 4 moves from the drop step. Now
All right.
from the inside pivot.
Inside pivot. See, I'm already lost. I'm not sure what that means. So what does that mean, inside pivot?
So the other 2 are when I'm back to the basket, I'm backing my guy down.
Right.
So if I have a smaller defender on me where I have a height advantage or a size advantage, I want to use my power for these moves.
I see.
But if I'm going against a big man who's just as strong or similar or taller, I want to use my quickness and my footwork to
Right,
create that
right.
separation. Right?
So first 4, small guy, me guarding you, you just run me over. But
just try to overpower you, get to the basket.
right,
as
like
I
a
can.
200-pounder, smaller, 6'8" or smaller, you're just
Exactly.
gonna. Yeah, even if he's a leaper, you just try and back it down.
Back him down and get him as low as I can.
Yeah, nice. Okay,
Right.
so this next set is for big
Next
man
move,
equal.
Equal big man,
Okay.
athletic big man. I want to use my speed to create that separation.
So who when you were playing, or sort of in the Olajuwon period we talked about, who would be the big men? We talked about him, Ewing, Olajuwon, Robinson. Who would those smaller forwards that you test be from that time
that's
period?
a good question.
Like Robert Ory was a big guy, right?
Yeah, he was a big guy, and he's pretty nimble at the same time. I
Right.
think a guy, maybe, you remember a guy like Ben Wallace?
Sure, Ben.
Like an undersized
Right,
big guy.
right.
Something like that where you could use your height advantage.
yeah.
He was pretty powerful.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, so guys
Interesting.
like that. So guys that are kind of undersized, a Theo Ratliff kind of guy.
Right.
That are undersized big men.
Yeah. Okay, good. So the big set now. All
So
right.
the next set is 4 guys that are bigger, taller, and you want to be able to create that separation with your quickness.
All right.
So what I like to do, it's called the inside pivot. So from
Inside
here,
pivot.
I'll go from here, and I'll be able to
All right,
bring
gotcha.
him out a little bit.
Yeah.
So get him out of his comfort zone here.
Right.
Get him to come out
You
here.
got me out of my
Here.
comfort zone there, Ike.
I'm here. Yeah. So first move out of this, I can come here. I can stay here and shoot the jump shot from here. All right.
So you're facing him. So I'd be like right here, right? Trying to figure out what you're going to do.
Exactly. So I pull him out, face him, try to get him going one way or
Nice.
the other. If he stays there, then I shoot my jump shot. All
And
right?
so am I ever, as a big man, am I ever reaching in to try and block the ball, or do big men not go after the ball when you bring it up like that?
Well, big men typically they don't want to go out. They don't want to come outside the paint. They want to protect the basket.
Right. So I'm just standing you, watching you do your move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if I'm here and I hit a couple, it's going to force him to come out there and try
Right.
to contest my shot. And that's when I'm going to use my quickness to get by him one way or the other and get to the basket.
That's why you and I like Olajuwon, because
Exactly.
all right, okay. So what are you calling this one again?
So this is the inside pivot.
Inside pivot. I'm going to get out of the way and watch it from the side.
All right, so I'll do a couple of moves. First move I set up, so I bring him out. come out here, shoot that jump shot.
Right, okay.
Second move. Now, I'm going to get a couple of jump shots. Now I'm going to get them going one way or the other. All right? I bring my jab in this way, I jab in this way, and then I go hit it with that runner. All right? Or I can jab him the other way, bring him here, and back.
Wow, that's funny how you let go of the ball. I've never noticed that. Is it's so soft?
Yeah.
It's just like coming out of your hand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like almost arm motion.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that. I've never been this close to a big shot, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But it's super soft.
Yeah.
Do you do that right and left? Do you have that control?
Right and left, yeah.
Wow.
Years of practice.
Right. I mean, am I seeing something, or am I just
No,
talking?
totally.
Yeah.
That's what you want. So ideally, I guess I'm doing a pretty good job because that's ideally what you want to do. Yeah.
But it's super soft, right?
Yeah. You want to have a nice soft touch around the rim.
Soft hands.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes it makes sense, but I'm like, what am I talking about when I say soft hands? Because I think in golf.
Yeah.
Soft hand. But that's interesting. All right, so good. So that was really cool to see right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. All right, so then the next one I like to do. This is obvious. It's a pretty famous move by my favorite player, Ikenna.
Yeah.
It's the dream shake.
Dream shake.
I love the dream shake because you're able to freeze the defender, so he doesn't know which way you're going to go.
Yeah.
So off the dream shake, you can go turn this way, or I can hit him and I can go turn that way. So he doesn't know which way you're going to go.
Does the dream shake also have an under?
It does if you get here and you're here. Hold it up.
Yeah.
Step through. There's a lot of different variations you can do.
I don't recall ever seeing that before him.
Oh, I don't either.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it was like that extra step was so wow, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's going under, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong in
No,
calling that an under
he
move?
definitely was the originator of the dream.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
why he was named after him.
Mikhail had a version of that, but it was always
Probably the
close, right?
Exactly. Exactly. He's probably my second favorite big man of all time, Kevin
Right.
Mikhail. He's definitely underrated.
Super nimble, super agile,
Absolutely. His
soft.
footwork was impeccable.
Yeah. All right, well, let's check that out.
So here's the dream shake.
Dream Shake live.
We're going to go two ways. We're going to go middle and we're going to go baseline.
All right, Dream Shake live, Ike Nwankwo.
Here, turn, come on. Dream shake. Here.
Nice.
Then middle. Here.
Is glass always the first option on that one, or do you go straight into?
Going baseline, it's always better to use the glass. I'm sure you know Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
He made a Hall of Fame career off of that.
Yeah.
Using the glass gives you a little bit, shoot it from a higher percentage than you want.
For a tall player, is glass higher percentage?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because otherwise you're shooting up still. It's sort of some arc, but
Exactly.
I've noticed how high you're getting. It starts to be a straight shot, which has got to be hard, right?
Yeah, definitely. So it gives you that kind of point of reference to knock
Nice.
it down. Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So last one, I like to do it from this side. I don't know if you guys want to go from this side, the turn around baseline.
Sure. We'll move it over.
Set up the last one.
Yeah.
Or you want to not?
We'll just do it long cameras. We'll do it over here. Oh, you're gonna come all the way through?
So I'm going to do it here.
Yeah, all right.
Just go from here. Turn.
All right. In my face.
Or you want me to just do it from here?
No, we'll do it here. Can you? Okay, yeah, he's got it. All right, so we're switching angles. We got a lefty shot, or what's
No,
what?
we can definitely do it on this side.
No, but why? Why
This is
the?
my kind of like my bread and butter, my go-to shot.
This was your go-to shot in college?
One of my go-to shots, and I think I should definitely shoot a higher percentage from my right shoulder baseline. So I wanted to demonstrate.
So when did you learn this? I mean, are you talking high school?
High school.
Who taught it to you? Your
My old
coach?
coach in high school, Ray Murphy.
So Ray had a playbook that included some of these except for the shimmy, maybe.
Yeah, besides the shimmy and the dream shake, I stole from Elijah.
Right. This one was. What'd you call it?
It's called. This is the turnaround fadeaway. So
Turnaround fadeaway.
Yeah. So Michael Jordan had this in his game.
Yeah.
Had this in his game.
Ewing?
Ewing, not so much.
Robinson?
Not so much.
Duncan?
Not so much.
So big men.
Duncan was always off the glass.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So this is, if you remember Mike, towards the later stages of his career, this was his go-to.
Yeah, sure.
Turnaround
A lot of elevation from him, though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So almost impossible to block.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm a defender here on you, or
So
all
what I
right.
like about this move is that I'm already starting this in the air. So the ball's in the air, and I'm looking baseline.
Looking baseline. Nice, the big guy. All right, we got the big guy from the top flight in.
All right, so what I like about this, as the ball's coming, as the ball's coming in the air, you turn it.
Oh, so it's a motion. It's one motion almost. Looking to the middle. Ball comes in. Oh, so it's like a big head fake, huh?
Exactly.
Nice. And it's really one motion, huh? So he puts it in. So, yeah. Nice. So that's cool. All right. So I got one piece of advice. When I'm trying to D up someone, my recollection is you got to know your opponent, right or left, strengths and weaknesses. But if I'm taking a street game or a game at the club and I don't know the guy, do I presumptively face a direction when I'm D'ing someone?
It's all about where you feel the most comfortable. So you always want to get to your spots where you feel comfortable. You want to get to your spots, and then based on how the defender's playing, you adjust. But I like to feel the defender on me. So for me, I like to feel exactly where he is, and then I'll adjust based on how he's playing me. So if let's say you're on my back, I'll be here. Now that I know you're this way, I want to.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But if you're guarding in the middle, so this really depends on how you're guarding.
So what's the contact now? Can I do the arm out?
As long as your arm is bent.
Can I do this?
You can do that. As long as your arm is bent, but you can't have your arm straight.
They changed that rule for Jordan, right? I mean, that was the Jordan rules?
Yeah, Jordan rules about 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So this bent, okay.
If your arm is bent, you're okay.
All right, so I'm never going to be straight on because I don't feel like I could get any leverage from you straight up, right? You just shove me. So this is okay, but you're gonna wait for it.
So if you're doing that, I already know if I'm gonna stick to do that again.
Yeah. How did you feel it? It's just.
So if you're pressuring me, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
If you're really on me, I'm gonna back you down. But
I see.
If I feel like your arm's extended there, then I know that I'm gonna.
Oh yeah.
So it's all about feel.
And that's just a lot of energy coming at me. I mean, I can't adjust to that.
Yeah.
So offense is always faster than defense.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, good. My guy Frank wanted you to shoot one over him. So, you mind, Frank?
Sure.
Franco, come on out. We got. You're gonna hurt him.
David.
Frank.
David. Whenever you're ready. Send him here.
All right. Stand here. Your defense and Ike Nwankwo against Frank. Here's the man.
Watch me, Blackfish man.
All right. Yeah. Here it is. Our bass player guarding the man. It's a little scary. It's over. All right. Officially scored. Thanks, Ike. Appreciate it, man. Top Flight Academy. If you come to Bangkok and you want to develop your skills, we got all sorts of games going on around us right here. We got youth. We got a girls team. This one girl, I saw her practicing her left-hand layups here at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. It was awesome. We got some big fellas over here playing. So everything, Ike, way to go. This is really impressive. I see you got the Lakers colors on today, and we didn't talk about Kobe, but big year. I don't know if I want to bring that up with you, but it's I didn't call you to reach out on that, but
Next time.
Yeah, all right, good. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
All right. All right, good. It's Roman Anton here again with Ike and Nwankwo, Houston, Texas, LA, man of the world. We are on the Phetchaburi Canal here in Bangkok, Thailand. It's October 2020. So, Ike, thanks for coming out with me today.
It's a pleasure.
So we just spent about an hour talking back in the Roman Anton office, and now we're on the river here. Part of our podcast, we try to find cool places in Bangkok. We didn't really talk about this too much, but do you get out much in Bangkok? Do you spend a lot of time?
I do.
Right.
Good amount of time when I'm not coaching.
Good. How you doing?
Good, man.
Good.
Yeah, so you go out a little bit. You used to live here, bachelor days. You got around a little more. You live nearby here, probably.
Yeah.
But your office is right down the street. There's actually a shuttle stop right over there for your office.
Okay. All right, now I know.
Yeah. So do you and Aggie, do you and the family get out much when you're here?
Yeah, a little bit. We go down to Siam. We go down to the aquarium. And we go to a couple different places. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have vacation spots you go to in Bangkok?
Yeah, we go. We're not in Bangkok. We go to Rayong. We go to.
Do you go?
Yeah, we go to Krabi.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why Rayong? Because you can drive there.
Yeah, because we can drive there. We got a really nice kid-friendly hotel out there.
Oh, cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So are they? You have to keep your eye on the kids though, right? Because they run around like crazy.
Yeah. Especially now.
Yeah, but this place is weird to me too because it's right in the middle of the city. So we got big skyscrapers here you can see. This is maybe like back in the days playing in the lane for you here. Some big tall stuff. But yeah, I like this. So we got one of these shuttles coming through here. It's a water taxi. And back during COVID when I was out, I'd go jogging down here and run down here. These things were empty, but they're filling back up. So we're seeing progress. But how do you manage your diet over here? Do you eat different types of food here, or to stay healthy, or do you eat Thai food, or do you try to do Western stuff?
No, for the most part, I eat Thai food mostly. I love Thai food. Even before I came to Thailand, or even ever had an idea I'd ever come to Thailand, Thai food is always my favorite kind of food. So it's been really.
Do you eat a lot of rice?
I do. I eat a lot of rice, a lot of vegetables. I'm kind of leaning towards being a vegan these days. So
really?
So I eat a lot of, not completely, but yeah.
Because I grew up in Wisconsin, right? So you're Midwest roots, but your dad, you lived with your parents. So did they eat traditional Nigerian food?
Yeah, which I love. Can't find Nigerian food here.
Like the fufu and the stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's heavy, right?
Yeah, real heavy. Yeah.
So they taught you to eat a lot. Eat when you can, eat a lot.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Thais will serve the rice up, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of rice.
No,
I have a hard time. I just ate potatoes.
Okay.
And they certainly won't give you potatoes. I mean, like mashed potatoes, you don't see them unless you go look for them.
Yeah.
So I struggle with the food, but there's the fence there. So I like this down here. It's really cool at night. It's a good time to run. You can go all the way to the National Stadium that way. And Frank, what'd you say? You go to the airport this way? Pratunam, yeah. Pretty cool, sort of Venice style, right?
Yeah.
Sort of out of the ordinary. Super. I mean, you realize this whole town is built on klongs, they call them, rivers. They have one covered up by my house, right, Frank? You've seen that one out in front? Yeah, I mean, there's rivers, but I think Satron, you said you lived there?
Yeah.
That is two big ones underneath
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
It is.
You can find stuff like this all over in Bangkok, but I mean, get back to Thai food. I love it. Can't do spicy. Can you do the heavy spicy?
The spicier the better for me. Yeah.
Boy, it's funny is when I lived in Nigeria, there were some super hot dishes, pepper dishes.
Yeah, pepper soup.
That were very different than Thai spices, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just as hot.
Did your mom and dad hand you recipes?
Not recipes per se. My mom did all the cooking, so
you don't know how to do it.
Don't know how to do
How
it.
about your sisters?
My sisters are excellent cooks, and they taught my wife, so they taught Aggie. So.
Oh, okay, good. So that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to cook, but you left it with the smart people.
Yeah.
Okay. So cool. So hot and spicy rice. So you're thinking of going vegan?
Thinking about it. Yeah.
You burn a lot of calories though, because you work out hard. You stay in shape.
I do. Yeah.
You think you can support your?
I guess we'll find out. I watched a movie not too long ago. It's called Game Changers, talking about the benefits of vegan. It really intrigued me. So I'm thinking about it. I've been doing less and less kind of red meat, less dairy. I feel like I have more energy during the day.
Yeah. Would you run on cement like this now?
Now, no, definitely.
Yeah. So what do you do in Ikenna? Is there a path?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, you go to school?
Yeah. There's a track there at school.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that rubber padding or is it that cinder block?
Yeah, I need the rubber padding.
Right.
Yeah. So I need that.
Yeah, it's a game changer, right?
Definitely.
There you go, using the words. But well, cool. Well, Ike, I'm glad we got to see something. So for those of you who are tuning into the Roman Anton podcast, Ike Nwankwo, NCAA champion, former pro NBA player, but more importantly running Top Flight Academy here in Bangkok. If you come, or if you're moving here and you're thinking about what am I going to do in Bangkok, you can join a league if you're a basketball player, or if you want to learn the skill, you can go to the academy and get some skills. If you're bringing kids here and you're worried about coming to Bangkok and passing along some of the American standards,
they certainly got the academy running here. So look for Ike's website, topflightbangkok.com. You can check that out, or you can check out his Wikipedia page, right?
Yep.
All right, and tomorrow we get to get on the court with the master, and you're going to show me the move. Did you have a name for it?
My post series.
Post series.
My post series.
All right. All right, so I can actually, you're going to do it on camera?
Absolutely.
Can I come out and try and D the post series?
Well, you can try.
So we just talked about it. There it is. He's competitive. So he's staying competitive. It didn't change just because we're on the river sightseeing. All right, Ike, I appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
One, two, three, quiet.